On June 27, 1945, Hungary was in a state of devastation. Following the end of World War II in Europe, here's an overview of the conditions at that time. Hungary was under Soviet military occupation, as Soviet forces had driven out the Nazis earlier in April 1945. The country was controlled by the Allied Control Commission, led by the Soviets. The pre-war government had collapsed, and a provisional government was formed in Debrecen in late 1944, before moving to Budapest in early 1945. Hungary was beginning to shift toward communist influence, though free elections were still planned for later in the year. The Hungarian economy was in ruins due to war destruction. Budapest, which has endured a brutal 50-day siege, was heavily damaged, with much of its infrastructure destroyed. Food shortages were severe, and the country faced a famine crisis. Hyperinflation was beginning to take hold, which would later lead to one of the worst cases of inflation in history by 1946. Industrial production was minimal, and much of the remaining industrial capacity was being dismantled and sent to the Soviet Union as war reparations. Thousands of people were homeless, and many cities were still in ruins. Mass displacement. Many Hungarians had fled west to escape the Soviets, while deportations and repatriations were ongoing. The Jewish population had suffered enormous losses during the Holocaust. Those who survived were trying to rebuild their lives. The Soviet Army's presence led to significant fear among civilians, as reports of looting and mass rapes were widespread. Prisoners of war. Many Hungarian soldiers and civilians had been taken by the Soviets and sent to labor camps in the USSR. The war had officially ended May 6, 1945, but Hungary was still in a transition phase before signing a formal peace treaty in 1947. Hungarians' borders were uncertain, but it was clear that we would lose northern Transylvania to Romania and other territories under the post-war agreements, including to Ukraine.